Hello, welcome to my channel. I am Ice Cold Sanity, and I hope you enjoy the video. And if you would subscribe or leave a like, even comment, I would enjoy it. Thank you. Now, here's the video. Okay, I am back. Sorry for the long time I've been gone. Probably not much viewers anyway. But on the other note, I am doing a new what if because the other one I just got bored of. Maybe I will pick it up later, even though I said I wouldn't. But hey, whatever. And maybe I'll just redo it from the very beginning so I can just do it better. But this will be what if Deku could let basically edit every aspect of his body. Like it won't be like where he can edit from being super skinny to being super buff, but he can edit his body to be able to grow muscles faster from training. And he can also use to grow wings, stuff like that. And quirks will be involved in the body manipulation because technically it's part of your body in the My Hero Academia universe. So, and the reason why I have this thing at the top is because, not this, but this, is because I have a shit memory. So I can just remember what happens. That's all this is for. And this is not my picture, once again. Which I probably still have to explain because there's new people probably gonna watch this. But, let's start off with when Izuku was born. When Izuku was born, something was weird. Instead of having, green hair, or really any other type of color of hair, his hair was just like it was glitching out. It was colors kept changing like static. And this is because he couldn't really, at the time, let's just say his body wasn't done deciding what color to make his hair, basically because of his quirk. And he was too young to even think of it. I'm just gonna say, for convenience, that doesn't happen to the rest of his body. But, when they saw this, they did some checkup and found he had a quirk. And I know in My Hero Academia universe, usually they wait before they get a quirk. But I ain't gonna do that because why not? Now they can't figure out what his quirk is right now. They just know he has a quirk. Let's just say that. So, at the age of 4, let's just skip to that. It's found out he has some sort of body manipulating quirk. So, after they ran the tests on him, okay. After that, they said, what do you want to be? The doctor said, what do you want to be when you grow up? and Izuku said he wanted to be a hero, just like All Might. And the doctor said, well, that's great, you'll be a fine hero with that quirk. And out of pure joy, Izuku smiles so bright it could burn your eyes. Now that's just picturing as in how bright his smile is, not literally, okay? Okay, then next. Well, he wasn't really bullied much because he had a quirk, which was considered very powerful. The one thing I forgot to mention is the doctor also said he could possibly um, basically make his own quirks at will, including mutations and sentient quirks like Dark Shadow. Not specifically like Dark Shadow. Dark Shadow is just an example. But now it's getting off track. Okay, and then in middle school, Baku and Izuku aren't really friends, aren't really enemies. They just tolerate each other, let's say that. They aren't rivals or anything. They just don't care that each other exist. Now, Izuku's still going to be his cheery self mostly. I say mostly because he's not going to be the person who's going to be just cheery because he's never felt happiness, just regular cheery. But whatever. On the last day of middle school, well, not last day technically in the anime, but the day where they're signing up for shit, the teacher comes in the room with a big stack of papers and says, we're gonna fill out these sheets of paper to see what you want, to see what you're going to be when you grow up. And then he proceeds to throw the papers in the air like normal. Says, who am I kidding? I know all you want to be heroes. Everyone started to use their quirks, and Deku just rolled his eyes, and Bakugo just stood up and says, don't compare me to these losers. They would be lucky to be a sidekick to some D-listers. I'm going to make it to UA and be the #1 student. And the only other extra here that could even compare to me here is Izuku. And no one protested this because they were scared of Bakugo, kind of. And they really did think Izuku was the only one who could compare to Bakugo, so they really didn't have anything to argue with. Izuku just said, shut up, Bakugo. Stop being an arrogant brat. No one wants to hear it. And Bakugo walked up to Midori and said, what did you say? I said, shut up, you arrogant brat. Midori said again. Just saying, okay. And Bakugo just scowled and sat back down. And class went on, and after class, Izuku, like normal, went through the alleyway, but this time when the sludge villain attacked, Izuku just basically from studying All Might's fights, so that he used sheer air pressure to attack, and Izuku thought this would be a good uh, technique to use against a sludge villain, since hitting it with your bare fist will do nothing, but an air blast might spread it out. So, in a quick sense of thought, Izuku made his quirk, a low-level quirk of an air blast, just barely strong enough to blast a villain into each side, because it was out of nowhere he made the quirk based on what he observed from All Might. Yes, he does take hero notes, like he in the original, and All Might comes and says, "Don't worry, I am here." Something, whatever the hell he says. Um, oops, whatever the hell he says, and he says, then he says, "Where's the villain? Have you seen the villain?" A villain, and Izuku said, "Yeah, he's there," pointing to the walls where the goop is hanging off of. And All Might says, "Impressive. Tell me, what is your quirk?" He says, "Well, it doesn't really have a name, but it's a quirk. Well, with my quirk, I can basically change anything from my body, including how fast I can bulk up, growing wings, changing hair color, changing anything about me. I could even change into you, technically speaking, if I knew your anatomy, which is fairly easy to pick apart using the other part of my ability where I'm able to create quirks for myself. It's an ability of my quirk." And then after that, All Might was impressed. It's like, "You would make a great hero." As All Might says, "Well, I hope you're going to UA because I'm going to be teaching there." Zuko says, "Well, yes, I am." And then the 10 months of training starts. Zuko just analyzes does some studying, because, like I said earlier, he didn't have the quirk to analyze people's anatomy and everything. So he studied and for about a month to create a quirk that can do that. And I say a month, which means he can basically see every single little piece that you would need to know to make himself an exact replica of you, including your quirk and all. And the reason why it's so good is because he did it for a month, because the air blast was fairly strong because when he just made it. So my logic is, if he just makes it, it's fairly strong, but when he takes time to study up and make it, within time, adding little aspects here, fixing little aspects there of it, he could perfect it easily. because I didn't say this, but he edited his brain to have more capacity and make it so he could do stuff like made it so he could have more of, like, you know how the intelligence-based quirks are? Basically kind of like that. He already made one of those, a very strong one at that rivals even Nezu. Or is about as same intelligence as Nezu, even smarter maybe. And Zuko, then for the 9 months left, Izuku decides to train by watching pro heroes fight and thinking of ways to completely copy their physical appearance, and basically down to every single nerve. He started using a quirk to, I'll just call the quirk he made autonomy, or not autonomy, but insight. Basically insight to how your body works, so I'll just call it insight. And he uses insight and tries to perfect his copying of people, and for the night it's fairly complicated, even though he's super intelligent, because even intelligent people slip up, so he had to train his brain to be able to do it at a whim, yet even with different people, and even making completely different people. I will say this, he does have he has no normal form, basically like a base form. He can be whatever, but yeah, that's how it works. But he does have one specific anatomy structure for to make his base form, because he doesn't want to be basically switching and switching and switching. It would make it complicated for school systems and life altogether. So yeah. Then but after that, Deku decides to go to the UA entrance exam, like like in the original, but and like in the original, he trips and Raka catches him, and she says, "Sorry for using my quirk without asking, but I didn't think you wanted to fall on the first day. After all, it's bad luck." And Izuku says, "Thank you for that." And Izuku, then they part ways, and Izuku goes to take the written, and Izuku scores 100% to top, better than anyone else in the written portion. And then we go to the practical. In the practical, in a practical exam, President Mike is going through explaining the robots. He says, "There's 1-pointer robots, 2-pointer robots, and 3-pointer robots, explaining them, right? And then we get to Ida. Ida says, are you forgetting about one? This would look bad for UA if they missed something. On this, there's a 4th robot written on the paper, and Izuku just and Ida says, and you stop muttering. Izuku, not being a total pushover, says, mind your own business, and if you would listen, he was about to say it. So sit down and shut up. And the blue-haired boy Ida sits down, and President Mike says, "Thank you, green-haired boy," because yes, he does like to have the green hair, because whatever. Because like I said, he doesn't have a base form, but his base form has green hair that he made, not a base form to where if his quirk gets canceled out, he turns into so he can't be transformed out of it using Aizawa's quirk. All Aizawa's quirk would do to him would disable the powers of being able to change. Okay, and then I go to the and he's also, and a part of that is he's able to make like knife-like structures with his bones, because yes, he can alter his body, like I said. I should call his quirk body alteration. Yes, now it has a name. Good. Let's say Izuku, what? No. He was about to approach Uraka to give her some support, but she looked like she was totally stressing out. But Ida says, "Stop, I will not let you distract that girl from taking the test." And Izuku says, "Why the hell would I do that, you idiot? Why don't you shut up for once, instead of acting like you have a stick shoved so far up your ass that you can't even have a normal conversation with anybody besides time. Oh, don't do anything." Yes, I do not like Ida. So I like Ida, but I don't like Ida. This one, my mindset says no. I hate Ida. So Ida's getting the bad treatment. Ida, after hearing this, says, "How dare you accuse me of such things?" And Zuku says, "Your response is enough to know that it's true. Just shut up and try to pull that stick out of your ass. Maybe you'll be able to make some friends. Or even better, have a life." Ida takes this to heart, kind of. Not right away, but he will later. Then Izuku goes up to Uraka and says, "It's gonna be alright, you'll definitely pass." And Uraka says, "Yeah, I will." He's like, and he says, "By the way, I never got your name." She says, "I never got your name either." She's like, he says, "Well, my name is Zuku Midoriya. What's yours? She says, I'm Muraku Ochako. I can't pronounce the name. Sorry. And then President Mike starts to count down, and then the gates start opening. Izuku just dashes in, and someone out in the crowd says, he's cheat. By crowd, I mean the people who are in the entrance exam, because it's a crowd of people. But someone random says, he's cheating, and President Mike says, no, he's not. There's no countdown in a real battle. Heroes don't wait for someone to tell them when to fight. Go, 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 follow that kid. And Zuko, right off the bat, just starts hacking away at not 0 pointers, but at 1, 2, and 3 pointers till he racks up about, let's say, 300 points. He destroyed so many because he also developed a speed quirk that would basically make his feet into basically he was if you knew Ben 10, you'll know accelerate. Basically let's just say he knew about Ingenium, and he tried to replicate that quirk, and he succeeded in making him even more powerful one, because he can have instead of it just being a boost, he can have it constantly going at max, because he developed a ice quirk to go along with it to produce such low body control, temperature control in his body. Actually, he didn't need a quirk for that. He can just control, and he lowered the temperature around the part of the quirk, because it's a physical quirk, and which kept cooling the engine, which made it so he could have it constantly let you know the reciprocal burst. He can just have it go constantly, so he's super fast. So he just dashed and got about 300 points, like he said. And the people in the observation room were all amazed. All Might, Aizawa, Nezu, Midnight, President Mike. They were all amazed at how fast he did. Nezu had to even send some more robots in so the other contestants had a chance at getting in. Izuku got the hint only after some President Mike said, "Hey, kid in the green hair, can you please just let the other contestants have a chance? Can you let the other contestants have a chance? You've got enough points. You don't need to destroy the robots anymore. Just let the others have a chance, okay?" That's when Izuku finally got to him. He may be smart with the intelligence quirk and his normal intelligence, but he tends to go a little bit overboard. Okay, and then he just sits. He runs he can run so fast he can run up a building. Let's just say that. He runs up a building, and there's other quirks helping him out with that. Or his balance is phenomenal. That's what's helping him out with that. But so when he just sits up on top of a building and for a few minutes and just relaxes, and it's like, this was easier than I thought. Changing his arms back from blades to just his normal hands. He decides he wants, for a while, it's been a while, so he decides he's gonna try and do something to cure his boredom, so he starts manipulating his hands to where he removes all the skin and muscle from his hands and tries to make just some random shit, like trying to make his hand move with no muscle or skin. He succeeds, of course. And he's like, cool. He jots it down in a journal that this can help him in a pinch. Maybe can help him in a pinch. And as soon as he was done, he put the notebook back, and all of a sudden, as something started shaking the city, and Zuko heard a cry for help. And this was none other than Uraka. Uraka, Ochako. I'll just say Ochako. Yep. And he, after hearing it, he just immediately grew wings and started flying over. He analyzed Hawk's quirk and made basically the same thing. He flew really fast straight to her, and he just started, he just saw that the only thing he could really do in time would be to destroy the robot. So, in a quick thought, he decided to make his arms into cannons, like mini cannons, while they will of air, and he basically just blasts, because he refined his air cannon and quirk that was just basically him using a quirk to make physical strength turn into air power. Now he's turned it into a cannon, which is severely more powerful. As powerful enough to blow no, I'm not going to say that. To push the zero pointer backwards and made it fall with a big clunk. And not only did it do that, it also wasn't just enough to basically snap the break the circuit inside. Because he also, well, let's just say he also had a little bit of electricity. Just never mind about that. That was a stupid thing to say. Okay, I'll just say it pushed the 0 point so hard that when it landed, it broke. Okay, now I'm back. Sorry. I just got asked a question from so I'll just. I assume I was about to explain that. Yeah, now I know where I am. I'll just say that the force from being pushed over, the 0 pointer from the force from it being pushed over, it just basically pushed the 0 pointer so hard that it broke or shattered, kind of, to the point where it couldn't work. And then Izuku walked over to Uraka, changing his hands from cannons back to normal hands, and he also did a little bit of research about Recovery Girl and how her quirk works. So he took off the rubble from Uraka, and he doesn't have to do the embarrassing kissing thing to make the quirk work because he designed it so he didn't have to. I know overpowered right now, but it will level out because he's not going to be able to make things that can hurt a Nomu or a big villain out of thin air. He'll have to work for that. And so he takes off all the rubble from Uraka. The reason why he didn't do it before is because he didn't have enough time before the 0 pointer would have crushed her. So then Izuku, who used the quirk just by touching her leg, which was broken, because at first he asked her if she was okay and if she thought she could walk. She tried and said, "I think my leg is broken or bruised." Izuku used insight to see what was wrong, and he used a healing quirk he made to fix it. And I was hearing quirk he uses it with his insight so he can pinpoint the exact place so he doesn't have to expend a lot of energy for the whole body. He just can use it for that part, so it saves him a lot of energy. Then Izuku straight up after that just starts walking with her to Recovery Girl because he couldn't fully heal her, just enough to where it was easier for her to walk while stumble. With his help, got to Recovery Girl, and then he just was about to walk home, then all of a sudden he passed the hell out. And this is because you may think his power is overpowered right now, but here's the kicker. For all the things he did and that, he passed out from exhaustion. Because he overused his quirk. That's his downside. When he overuses his quirk, he passes out. And the new quirks he has don't really come with downsides unless they are physical, like turning your blades into hands. Your hands into blades. Well, now you don't have hands. That's a downside. Like stuff like that, and flames and stuff. He can just control his body to where it won't hurt him. So he doesn't really have a downside for that and stuff like that. So he can. It's only things like he's missing a part or he has too many parts in a way from what he's made. That's the only kinds of downsides he would have besides exhaustion. Now, how his exhaustion works is since he was using so much energy to just attack the 0 pointer, because that's what ultimately, because he was just a bit tired from what he did before, because he used about, let's say, 25% of his energy reserves, and he gained about 5% back from the time he was sitting there on top of the rooftop, and so he would have used only 20%, and those cannon blasts and healing a rocket, even though he saved a lot of energy by healing to a specific point, still took a lot out of him because he hasn't developed it too well, so it's still spread out over the whole leg healing, and it was a fractured bone or leg. Her bone was fractured in her leg, and it was essentially broken, so it took a lot out of him to try and move the stuff to where it wouldn't basically stab into her muscles, because it was fragmented. It took so much energy. He didn't really notice it until he passed out. Sorry for the ramble. And I think that's it for this video. I will make the second part really soon, right after this. I'm just trying not to make this super long. Now, you have a good day. And I'll see you in the next video. Maybe. Possibly. Probably not. I don't care.